Of the 19 skills in Damascus, farming is one of the few that is currently exclusive to members. However, the game's very first patch, patch 1.01, showed us that this is not intended to be the case, and that farming is actually going to eventually be able to be leveled by free-to-play players. Farming also comes across as one of the more unique skills in the game. A big part of this is primarily because of the fact that the way of leveling it isn't so much go here, do this, it's much more set up this thing, come back to it later. This ends up making it a skill that's actually fairly desirable to level, as it's very easy to just passively gain experience. However, a big part of its desirability stems from the fact that it also is a great way to get passive log generation, which can help you in metalworking, fletching, all kinds of different things, as well as the fact that it provides some very important ingredients for some very powerful recipes that you can obtain through survival. One of these ingredients being wasabi, which is used in dragon sushi, the highest healing food in the entire game, as well as some lower level sushis, which are nothing to sneeze at. So after that, you're probably wondering, how do I level it? Well, that's what you're about to find out. Scattered around the game world at members cities specifically, you can find two different types of farming patches. One being the tree patch, which is used exclusively for trees, and the other being the allotment patch, which is exclusively used for allotments, or crops. What is required of you to plant things at either farming patch will differ slightly depending on which you're using. However, both will require the use of a seed dibber and a spade. A spade can be acquired from any general store, while a seed dibber can be acquired in either Docta or Port Ptolemy at the respective farming shops. The seeds, which are primarily obtained from farming shops themselves, are split up into two different categories, these being tree seeds and allotment seeds. For the most part, the farming shop at Port Ptolemy is primarily for lower level seeds, mostly allotments, while the farming shop at Docta is primarily higher level seeds, the most important of which being wasabi starters and tree seeds. For allotments, it's as simple as taking a seed dibber, spade, and seed of choice to an allotment of your choice, of which there are 33 in the game. For trees, it's slightly different. First, you have to get a pot of earth, which can be obtained at any farming store, and combine it with the seed. Something to note is that in order to put the seed into the pot, you need the required level to actually plant that tree. The level requirement for each tree should now be on the screen for you to look at if need be. This information can of course also be accessed in-game and on the Damascus wiki, which is always going to be linked down below. Assuming that the seed dibber and spade is also in your inventory, once it's potted, all you have to do is take it to a tree patch, click on it, then click on the tree patch, and boom, it's planted. And that is how you do farming. So now that you know what farming is and how to go about training it, the next thing that you're wondering is probably something along the lines of, what's the most efficient way to level it? Well, that is what this section of the video is for. Now be warned, I'm going to be throwing out some numbers here, so if you don't care to listen to me spout off numbers, feel free to go to shulkinsdamascuscalculators.com down below, where you can have it do all the math for you from your current experience. So anyways, let's just get started. So as shown in the graphic earlier, you can't actually plant trees until your farming is at level 5. And if you've looked at the experience table, you know for a fact that the most efficient way to level, for the most part, is just plant trees. The question now is, what's the quickest and most efficient way to get to level 5? Well, this is actually pretty easy to figure out considering that you only have one option, potatoes. And how many does it take? Well, depending on RNGs, this should only be about 20 different potato plants, which, as you can see by the graphic that is now displayed on the screen, can easily be done in less than an hour. Only about 40 minutes. And now that you're level 5, you can finally start planting trees. And yes, before you ask, for the most part, it's rarely worth it to ever plant allotments. This is primarily due to the fact that the experience gain from them is almost entirely negligible up until around level 50. And even then, the experience per plot is going to be pretty abysmal for quite some time. So generally speaking, the most painless method of training farming is going to be by using almost entirely trees. Generally speaking, people do what is known as a tree run once or twice daily. A lot of times this is either when they first get on, or when they get on and when they get off. Essentially, a tree run is where you go to each tree patch, of which there are 7, and not only harvest the tree that is now fully grown, as well as replanting it for later. So now that you know the method of skilling, what are the exact numbers? Thankfully, I have done all the work for you guys in determining how many trees are actually needed to get to 99. As I list them off, the numbers will also be put on the screen. So as we already know, it takes about 20 potatoes to get to a point where you can start planting trees. The first tier of trees, oak trees, spans from level 5 to 25 and requires about 9 oak trees in order to go through. After this is willow trees spanning from level 25 to 45 and requiring a total of 29 trees. Following that is Psychic spanning from 45 to 65 requiring a total of 110. After that is Acacia spanning 65 to 85 and requiring a total of 502 trees. And then the final stretch, 85 to 99, requires 943 weirwood trees. If you were to do a single tree run every day consecutively for about 228 days or a bit over 7 months, you would actually be at 99 all the way from 5. And obviously if you did 2 tree runs a day, this would be cut in half to about 114 days and a little over 3.5 months. Of course, both of these figures are subject to change not only through balance, but also depending on how many allotments have you used. And that's about all I got for you guys. Hopefully at least one of you found this useful, as I know that a lot of people in the Discord always ask, how do I do farming? So now they can just be linked to this. Anyways, leave a like if you liked the video, leave a dislike if you disliked it, leave a comment telling me what you think I did well, what you think I didn't do well, and if you want to see more Damascus content, feel free to subscribe. Peace.